What's on the agenda at this weekend's African Union Summit? We'll have a preview. And we'll tell you about the Kenyan village where men are banned. All that and much more coming up on Africa 54. We begin in East Africa, where insecurity and hunger are likely to top the agenda as heads of state from across the continent meet this weekend for the annual African Union Summit. Lucy Fielder has more.
Deepening security and food crises are likely to dominate the agenda when African heads of state meet in Ethiopia this weekend. This year's African Union Summit is taking place against a backdrop of conflict and climate that has driven 44 million people from their homes in sub-Saharan Africa as of last year, according to UN estimates. That's 15% higher than the year before. At the summit in Addis Ababa, AU Peace and Security Commissioner Bankole Adeoye is expected to try and rally support for a proposal of new security operations financing from the United States, African Union members and the European Union. That's according to two diplomats speaking on condition of anonymity. Financing has been a perennial challenge for AU initiatives, such as its peacekeeping mission in Somalia. Bankole and a spokesperson for the Peace and Security Council did not respond to requests for comment. Heads of state will also be briefed on fighting in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, as well as security situations in Mali, Burkina Faso, Guinea and Sudan. Worsening hunger in several regions will also be a major talking point. It's deepened by conflict and extreme weather that scientists have linked to fossil fuel-driven climate change. Somalia is on the verge of famine after 5 failed rainy seasons. Hundreds of thousands of people are suffering catastrophic food shortages. In addition to leaders from the 55 AU member states, the summit will also be attended by European Council President Charles Michel and UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres. African leaders will likely advocate for permanent seats for the continent on the UN Security Council and among the G20 group of large economies.
That was Lucy Fielder of Reuters reporting. Nearly 1,000 families in Mekemeke in Mpumalanga province, South Africa, along the banks of the Mlabanyatisi River have been cut off for over a week due to flooding. VOA's Paul Ndiho has more.
Flooding triggered by heavy rains have killed at least 12 people in northeast South Africa. The bad weather struck the east, north and south, claiming lives in 4 of South Africa's 9 provinces, according to the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs.
We have 269 footbridges that have been washed away by the rain, and we have 18 big bridges that have been washed away. You can imagine how difficult it is for those communities just to cross and try to buy food.
Local government officials, non-governmental organizations, the Red Cross and Gift of the Givers gave villagers food parcels. However, villagers are unable to go to shops to buy food supplies and children are unable to go to school.
We have almost 1,815 families that are without a shelter. Some of their homes they have been.
Kruger National Park, bordering Mozambique, the largest reserve in South Africa, is severely affected. Kruger is crossed by several rivers which are swollen due to torrential rains, according to the South African Weather Service. President Cyril Ramaphosa has declared a national disaster to coordinate the response and provide temporary shelters, food and blankets to the homeless. Floodwaters have swept away homes and vehicles, roads, bridges, and a hospital is also affected. Paul Ndiho, VOA News, Washington.
The death toll in the Turkey-Syria earthquake now stands at nearly 44,000, according to Turkey's Emergency Management Agency, the United Nations Humanitarian Agency, and Syria state-run news agency. Rescuers in the southern Turkish province of Hatay pulled 2 men from the rubble on Friday, more than 10 days after earthquake struck the Gaziantep region. Turkish police made the announcement in a post on social media, as a video released Friday showed rescue teams clearing rubble and carrying what appeared to be a survivor covered in a blanket. Turkey's Emergency Management Agency says that more than 4,300 aftershocks have hit the area since the massive February 6th earthquake. February is Black History Month in the United States, a month that celebrates the achievements of African Americans. This year's theme is Black Resistance. Shortly, we'll have a live report from the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, where Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his famous "I Have a Dream" speech on August 28, 1963.
One day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. I have a dream. My 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
For more on U.S. Black History Month, VOA's Ignatius Anor joins me live from the Lincoln Memorial here in Washington. Hello, Ignatius.
Hi, Esther. Lovely to see you again. It's Friday.
It's Friday. So you are at another very historic building here in Washington. How is this month shedding light on Black Americans and how they've been able to triumph, show resilience, perseverance, and just celebrate this month that is specially set aside for them?
Esther, so over the course of the couple of hours that I have been at the Lincoln Memorial, I've been speaking to some African Americans, and particularly folks who identify as Black Americans in the United States. And they have been talking about the fact that they have been using their platforms, they have been using their voice to campaign and raise awareness about what the month means to them. Although for them, Black history, it's not only a one-time celebration, but something that should be done throughout the year. They are grateful for the opportunity to really show the power and the importance that, African Americans, including Black people in this country, continue to contribute to the culture and history of the U.S.
And Ignatius, how are they advocating for equality and social justice?
They're learning themselves, they say. There was a man that I spoke to called Tyree, who said that for the first time he's reading a book from Frederick Douglass, an American, somebody that went through slavery himself and wrote a story about it. He wanted to use the opportunity to know the history for himself and pass that on. But beyond that as well, to have conversations with people who are non-Black people in the U.S., to get them on board, to talk about the contributions of Black people and why they continue to campaign, for example, for increased voting right and economic equality. I'm joined by Coben. He's from South Carolina. This is his first time coming to the Lincoln Memorial, and he will be speaking to us about what he is doing to promote or enhance unity and diversity here in the United States. Coben, join me, please. Thank you so very much for speaking to us on Voice of America. Just so you know, Esther, it's very windy outside here, so we're trying our best as much as we can. Coben, you're live on Voice of America. So talk to me about your role in promoting cultural diversity as part of the Black History Month.
I've just been using my social media as a platform to spread facts and stuff about Black History Month. Pay attention to the month. As you said, it's a yearly thing, but I'm going to spend this month in particular to just learn and promote Black History Month.
But beyond doing that, there have been calls from particularly Black Americans for increased opportunity, especially for Black-owned businesses. What are your thoughts on these?
I agree, and spend your money at Black-owned businesses and stores. That's what I'm trying to do this month as well.
And you identify as a Black American.
Yes, sir.
The theme for this year's celebration is Black Resistance. What does that mean to you?
Black people as a whole are great, and I support it.
What influence or impact do you think the late Dr. Martin Luther King had on the culture? And is that relevant this month?
Oh, it's very relevant this month. He had a great impact on our culture, being peaceful, choosing the right versus the wrong, not to fight, to protest peacefully, and doing the right things the right way.
And you early on talked about the fact that you're using your social media platform to campaign for unity and uplift the stories of Black Americans. What's your call to other people, perhaps, who have those platforms as well?
Spread awareness, promote Black businesses, and just use this month to create a yearly thing to just learn.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. So, Esther, that's Corbin there, coming all the way from South Carolina, his very first time just being on the ground here at the Lincoln Memorial, where in 1963, the late Dr. Martin Luther King declared that indeed he had a dream where Black and white people will coexist peacefully.
Ignatius, a very brilliant young man there, but also you've covered this for quite some time now. What are you learning about how they foster a sense of community and social well-being, how they talk about the culture and their heritage?
Esther, it's been interesting to note that from Monday, since we've been telling the stories about Black History Month, you would hear about the resiliency of particularly African Americans, their desire to continue to push through whatever is thrown at them from a spirit of kindness and unity, to spread the love and highlight the importance of their culture and history, which they call an American history.
Ignatius, thank you very much. Sorry for the wind. Get some chocolate. Ignatius,
you're welcome. Thank you too.
Ignatius Ano reporting live for us from the Lincoln Memorial here in Washington. A village in Kenya's Samburu region has for the past 3 decades offered women a refuge from gender-based violence. Mary Mugawe explains.
Umoja resembles many villages in northeastern Kenya except for one key detail: the absence of men. It was established over 30 years ago as a place for women from the Samburu community and beyond to escape family genital mutilation, domestic abuse, and child marriage. Christine Sitian left her husband because he physically assaulted her.
I do not wish to get married again because I went through a hard time. I was being mistreated and did not have rights, and my children were not allowed to go to school. Now I am proud to be a mother.
Jane Nomuken was among 15 women who founded Umoja, the Swahili word for unity, as a place where men are banned. She said the women needed to get an education and be able to choose their own partners.
Not like the old days when their father married them off to old men or those with wealth. Girls should choose who they love.
Today, Umoja is a self-sufficient community. The women make money from selling traditional beadwork to tourists and from a nearby campsite. The village isn't free from problems. Local men routinely steal their cattle. But for those like Sitian, there is no desire to let a man back into their lives. Mary Mugawe, VOA News, Washington.
We're excited to hear what you think about Africa 54 and all our VOA Africa programs on our website at voaafrica.com. Still to come, David Bande, host of VOA's African Beat program, introduces Dennis Fore Bundu, a rap artist from Sierra Leone. We'll be right back.
Hot flashes, night sweat, mood swing, and weight gain. Ladies, are you experiencing any of these symptoms associated with menopause? On the next edition of Our Voices, we'll look at why women of African heritage are likely to go through menopause earlier than others. Plus, we'll hear from experts on how to navigate this natural process. Join the conversation each week right here on Our Voices.
In times of change, when the world seems uncertain and what we hear doesn't reflect what we see, we seek the truth. When we are told only part of the story, we lose trust. In moments of crisis, our dreams, hopes, and wishes for a better tomorrow depend on a free press. At Voice of America, we bring you the stories that people take risks to see. We connect the world and unite it with truth. At Voice of America, we show you the whole picture.
In other news, the United Nations is appealing for $1.3 billion to provide assistance to 6 million Nigerians who are suffering the impact of a long-running Islamist insurgency in the northeast of the country. Boko Haram and the Islamic State West Africa province have been fighting Nigerian security forces in the northeast for over a decade. Senegalese opposition politician Ousmane Sonko was forcibly removed from his vehicle by security forces Thursday after his supporters were dispersed by tear gas in a new round of tension. The incident took place after the postponement of a politically charged trial. Sources close to Twitter on Friday announced that the social media site has closed 2 of its 3 offices in India. African employees of the social media giant were not spared during November's layoffs. The BBC reported that the social media giant has shuttered its offices in Ghana. A unique U.S. foreign aid agency, the Millennium Challenge Corporation, has crafted a new type of grant to promote cross-border economic integration and trade between 2 African nations. The first so-called regional compact signed with Niger and Benin will invest hundreds of millions of dollars for transportation projects. Other grants are also in the works. VOA senior correspondent Mariama Diallo reports.
Branching out from bilateral agreements between the United States and individual nations, the regional compact in the amount of $504 million will focus on reducing transportation costs between the port of Cotonou in Benin and Niger's capital city of Niamey. But there is more, says Mahmoud Ba, deputy CEO of the Millennium Challenge Corporation, the U.S. agency that's been providing foreign assistance around the world for nearly 2 decades.
It would also try to address some of the root causes of maintaining road assets. In both countries, they have committed to improving road maintenance. So there will be policy and institutional reform around road maintenance, contribution, how the fund is flowing, and how those funds are allocated to roads that actually needs to be maintained.
Benin and Niger will contribute $15 million to the various projects. The regional compact also aims to eliminate trade bottlenecks between the 2 nations and cut down on spoilage from delays, Ba says. MCC previously invested a total of $1.1 billion in Benin and Niger. The new projects aim to build on progress made.
We hope that we will connect those previous investments to these new investments. The Port of Benin now is effectively a model in the region, and thanks to the work we jointly did, and this road piece connecting that port to customers, farmers, clients in Niamey along the corridor from Cotonou, it's the big story here. I truly believe that regional integration is an essential piece of the entire continent's development.
Ba just came back from Mozambique. There, he signed a so-called aide-memoire committing Washington and Maputo to pursue a compact later on this year to protect Mozambique's coastal areas.
Mozambique is one country that is faced with extreme adverse effects of climate. 65% of Mozambican lives on the littoral, on the coastal part of Mozambique. It has 2,300 kilometers of coast, and it's being pounded every year by heavier cyclones.
About 4 years ago, Cyclone Idai killed hundreds in Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and Malawi, and displaced millions in what the United Nations called one of the worst weather-related catastrophes in the history of Africa. To receive money from MCC, a country needs to meet the agency's standards on a range of criteria, from good governance to economic freedom. MCC recently terminated Burkina Faso's grant funding after a military takeover.
When we see a coup d'etat in a country, especially the military coup d'etat, it calls into question the model and what for us, that is a red line, is that we cannot face Congress and say, well, you know, we need to support this country, when in fact we see an attempt or a confiscation of the Constitution by a group of military.
MCC is working on signing a compact with Sierra Leone this year to help make its energy sector more reliable and electricity cheaper. Other potential beneficiaries in Africa include Mauritania, Togo, and Gambia. Senegal is being tapped to lead the next regional compact. Mariama Diallo, VOA News, Washington.
It's time for our entertainment report, and we have two special guests this week. David Bande, host of VOA's Africa Beat program, joins us to introduce Dennis Forebundu, a popular rap artist from Sierra Leone. Hello, David.
Hello, Esther, and thank you so much for having me again. And it's so good to be here. And today I have a very, very special guest, Esther. And this young man is Dennis Bundu, and people call him MDG, my dearest guest. But I tell you, he's a rapper, a singer, a songwriter, and he is from Sierra Leone. Welcome to the Voice of America.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And look, you know, I know you do all of this stuff, and you are very, very versatile.
Yes,
so let's talk quickly about that. How did you get into all of this?
Well, music has always been a passion. You know, I grew up in a musical family. You know. Yeah, so just being influenced by music from all over the world, you know, from reggae to pop.
You do rap music, and you also sing, and you're also a music engineer.
Yes, sir.
And did you do that in school?
Well, I am what's called, I'm a three-dimensional artist. Anything entertainment and arts I'm involved in. I actually a finance graduate from Norfolk State University, so arts and entertainment is my thing. So yeah, it's always been, you know, a passion of mine. So yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I see that most times you go back to Sierra Leone and try to bring in the young generation, the young kids, and see how you can help them grow in the music industry.
Yes, yes, because it's all about knowledge, you know. It's all about, you know, acquiring knowledge and also dispersing knowledge, you know. So I try my best to, every now and then, to give back, you know, to the community, you know. Yeah.
You just released your latest album is Formula.
Formula, yeah.
And yeah, we're going to have a video of Formula. But
yes,
you are just coming back from Jamaica.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. You know, that Jamaica is a music world. Come on now.
Yeah, it was my first time, and it's actually it was quite an experience. You know, I appreciated every bit of that trip.
All right.
You know?
Okay. Well, what we'll do is we'll take the video, and we want people to see exactly what MDG is made of.
Absolutely.
Okay?
No, definitely.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. Okay. Well then, so when you went to Jamaica, I just want to see, I know we wanted to play the video, but let me just go back to you. When you went to Jamaica, what happened actually there?
So actually, Sierra Leone is opening a consulate in Jamaica, because there is a connection, a direct lineage between Sierra Leone and Jamaica. And I'm just learning this myself. The Jamaica Maroons had migrated to Sierra Leone, you know, I don't want to make a mistake what year that was, but that was a while back. So the settlers at the time were the Creole, and I didn't even know that's where they came from, Jamaica. Okay. You know, so I was amongst, you know, some of the people that were invited.
And you did some performances?
Yeah, I did some performances. You know, I get to connect with the local musicians, you know, and ironically, it was the week of Bob Marley's birthday, so I had the opportunity to actually attend a show that they did for him, which was quite phenomenal. You know, I get to meet some of the greats, my idols.
All right.
You know,
well,
so it was
thank
great.
you so very much, MDG, for being here with us today, and we hope to bring you back so that we can have a more performance here in the studio.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. That's about it, and over to you, Esther.
All right, David. David, you got a little more time. Ask him one more question. You have one more question. Go ahead. Talk to him.
Can be about Formula and what's it about?
The Formula?
Yeah.
All right. Well, definitely we talk about Formula and other stuff, and that is your latest album. So I want you to give me. Can you give us some a cappella on that?
Well, I'll break down the story to you about Formula, which is it's about, because I'm a huge advocate for children's education in Sierra Leone, you know, and the video that you've just watched, you know, it's about just raising awareness, you know, that, you know.
Okay, can we get some a cappella from you?
From Formula?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just give you a few lines from, you know, from the, you know, one of the tracks in the album that I really do like, since we're in the month of Black History, you know. African child, and I was born to win, even though my circumstances got me looking thin. But don't let my exposed ribs fool you. My strength is in the mind and the heart of this warrior. Yes, I'm in the rough and this waves I surf. One day I'ma rise like the sun on the top of Kilimanjaro. Never give up. Perseverance not immortal. Hold on tight to your dreams, never let it go. And that's part of Formula. So it's all about elevating the mind of young Black Africans, you know, and, you know, yeah, Black people all over the world.
And it's Black History Month.
It's Black History Month, you know, and I got my Pan-Africanist hat on today. So,
that's right.
Yeah.
By the way, I love the brand.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right. Well, that's about it we have for today on the entertainment show. And I hope we'll be around again some other day.
Definitely, and thank you so much for having me.
Okay.
Times of change, when the world seems uncertain and what we hear doesn't reflect what we see, we seek the truth. When we are told only part of the story, we lose trust. In moments of crisis, our dreams, hopes, and wishes for a better tomorrow depends on a free press. At Voice of America, we bring you the stories that people take risks to see. We connect the world and unite it with truth. At Voice of America, we show you the whole picture.
Yes, we show you the whole picture. Thank you so much, David, for you bringing Mr. Bandu here. And join David again next week for another entertainment report right here on Africa 54. And that wraps up our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. From all of us here in Washington, have a great weekend.